When people think of the great esoteric centres of Europe, they are inclined to state London, Paris, Rome, Budapest, Edinburgh, and a number of other well-known cities across Europe, which all have strong occultic presence within the consciousness of researchers into such topics. However, a city does not need to be large in size, old, or even a major political or religious centre in order to possess, within its urban landscape and psychogeographic layout, all the requirements for being an occult city. Some of the most occultic and esoteric cities are relatively unknown outside the nations they are located within, but look a little closer and their esoteric, magical, and alchemical credentials are revealed, and with this, the often surprising shadow they cast upon the consciousness of the world. So much so that some cities even have an atomic element named after them. Welcome to Darmstadt. Just south of the German financial capital of Frankfurt lies the Hessian city of Darmstadt. With a population of around 150,000 citizens, Darmstadt may not be Germany's most famous city. However, the influence this modest urban location has played upon the world and world affairs cannot be underestimated. Known today as the City of Science, Darmstadt is a major global center of scientific research, universities, and high-technology companies. Among these include the European Space Operations Centre, as well as the Centre for Heavy Ion Research, and where several chemical elements such as borium, hassium, and even darmstadtium were all discovered. The city's largest employer is the pharmaceutical company Merck, and it's hardly surprising as Darmstadt was once the alchemical centre of Germany. The names and titles have changed, but the art and science of the old European bloodlines remains very much at the heart of this almost mysterious city. The clues linking alchemy to quantum mechanics are all around if you look for them. Darmstadt, surprisingly, also gave the world the present British monarchy, when Prince Albert of the Grand Duchy of Hesse married Queen Victoria of Great Britain and Ireland in the 1800s, fully entrenching the absolute Germanic bloodline domination of the British throne, which remains until the present. Until the First World War, English was not even the first language of the British royal family. They spoke German, or rather, the Hessian dialect of German. And this all came from the palaces within the city of Darmstadt. Until the unification of Germany under Bismarck in the late 1800s, Darmstadt was the capital of a sovereign state known as the Grand Duchy of Hesse, and was one of the most prosperous regions in all of Europe. Where money and power flows, the secret societies go. The cryptic nature of Darmstadt begins with its name. The origin of the term Darmstadt is completely unknown and first appeared on maps of Germany around the 11th century. Darmstadt achieved city status under the Holy Roman Empire in 1330, and by 1479 the city was passed to the Landgravate of Hesse, and the seat of the ruling landgraves, and thereafter, up until 1918, to the Grand Dukes of Hesse. At this point, the history of the city becomes somewhat vague and is surprising considered the regal importance of the location. We can determine that Darmstadt was a center of esoteric learning and the study of alchemy until the Enlightenment period. By the mid 1800s, the city was covered in Freemasonic lodges, and these orders played a central role in the government and life of the city. The most powerful of these occult orders was directly connected to the royal family of the city from 1764 onwards. These lodges were extremely secretive and operated by the codes of the Swedish Rite. All the princes of Hesse-Darmstadt were Freemasons and studied extensively subjects ranging from Hermeticism, Rosicrucianism, Knights Templar rites, and especially alchemy. And all were central to the lodges at Darmstadt and remained the great lodge of all Germany until 1700s. Things changed, however, when the nobles of the lodge travelled to Italy to bring back alchemical knowledge derived from earlier Gnostic schools of Italian Illuminism. Realistically, this is the point when Darmstadt became a city of science. As with most European lodges, the Darmstadt Lodge was infiltrated by the Bavarian Illuminati in 1776 by a cryptic figure named Johann August von Stark, who by 1777 had successfully changed the entire esoteric direction of the lodges to that of Rosicrucianism under the English rites. As with similar situations around Europe, following the infiltration of the Bavarian Illuminati, Freemasonry in Hesse became increasingly secretive and politically motivated. The second phase of Freemasonry in Darmstadt began in 1811 and once again reaffirmed its connection with the Hessian royalty. And this continued through various names in esoteric schools, which eventually amalgamated into the Lodge of the Flaming Sword in 1921 and remained so until the rise of National Socialism from 1933 onwards, when membership of Freemasonic lodges was declared illegal in the Reich until the end of World War II. Following the defeat of the Third Reich, Darmstadt was left in ruins and was under US military control. However, within no time the priority was placed on rebuilding the Flaming Sword Lodge Temple and all the main buildings around the city which had royal, occult, or esoteric symbolism. While the ordinary citizens of Darmstadt were foraging among the ruins of their city, the royal palaces, churches, and Freemasonic lodges were all being rebuilt with the help of the US Army Corps of Engineers. This is when you begin to realize how our world really functions and who really matters. If anything, the post-war reconstruction of Darmstadt only solidified its esoteric credentials, and today it remains one of the most mystical and occult cities on the planet, and yet is relatively unknown outside Germany. The flaming sword burns brighter than ever. If you would like to know more about some of the themes contained within this short film, you can check out my book, Walpurgis Night, Dark Folk Magic of Europe and the Rise of the Nazi Occult, at the link below.